and welcome to Markets Rewind. I'm Anusha Nairo. The next 30 minutes we'll give you a complete account of the day's trading action, what moved the markets today and cues to watch out for tomorrow's trade. It was this week's start to the expiry week. The Nifty losing some critical levels in trade today, and there was pressure across the board. Turnover as well, not very exciting in trade. Priyank standing by with a complete wrap of the action.
Well, markets feeling some of those Monday blues, it seems like the way it played out today. A 300-point knock is what we saw as far as the benchmark was concerned. Remember, you started the day off with a little bit of a weak move itself when the markets really opened up for trade. But it was the second half of the session where the market started to slip quite rapidly. And remember, we are in expiry week. You are expecting to see some of the volatile moves. And last week again was a strong performance that the markets have seen with gains of almost 2%. So markets are seeing a little bit of a weak move today. 1% lower, 300-point knock coming in as far as the Sensex was concerned. Now, in regard to the way the Nifty really played out, just to try and decode as to where you got that kind of weakness coming in as well, the Nifty saw 88-89 point cut, a 1% fall there as well, and the closing is sub 8400 is what we've seen as far as the Nifty is concerned. Let's try and decode this with the individual stocks out here, because remember, there were a couple of the earnings impact that was playing out, especially in regard to the way ITC panned out. That stock was reacting to its weak set of numbers that came in on Friday post-market as that stock down 4%, and HDFC, that's the other heavyweight with significant amount of weightage on the index, was down nearly 3%. So these two contributed quite significantly in dragging the index lower. Tech Mahindra, Vedanta, I remember for Tech Mahindra, it was the last few seconds of trade where the stock tanked quite sharply. Vedanta and Ambuja were a couple of the other counters that closed on the negative side. Where the markets basically got some bit of support from the large caps like ONGC, Bank of Baroda, HCL Tech, Bharti, with some of the guys they were managing to support the market, but again, as you could see, was not enough. Power Grid also up nearly 1.5% is what we saw. Eventually, you have the Nifty closing at roughly around 8370. Turnovers managed to see a little bit of a pickup considering its expiry week, so started touched roughly around 3 lakh crores. But again, remember, the kind of moves that we've been picking up on a couple of these stocks is the reason as to why you're getting some bit of jitters coming in, and once again, it's predominantly on the back of earnings. That again will be the core theme to focus on, as we have some of the other index heavyweights also that will be reporting over the next couple of days. So let's see how the markets react to those numbers, and more importantly, the kind of direction that we play out as we close down the May series.
Thanks for that, Priyank. It promises to be an exciting and a volatile week ahead. Vijay Chopra, MD and CEO at Enoch Ventures, now joins me. We'll also be joined by Jagannathan Thunukuntla, Head of Fundamental Research at Karvy. Vijay, let me come to you first. What did you make of the market moves today? A bit jittery in the expiry week, 1 year of the government completion as well. No US markets trading today, so the FI volume remains a bit tepid as well. What's your takeaway?
Well, I think that the markets are jittery over the kind of Q4 numbers the major companies have been posting. ITC, the major banks, SBI, although it was a bit better than expectations, but still there are a lot of worries regarding the NPAs and the asset quality. And of course, they were heavyweights like Canara Bank, VHL, the expected numbers are not that good. So overall, I would say that market is jittery about the numbers, number one. Number two, the monsoon, the looming issue of the El Nino effect. Probably it can worsen the situation as far as the rural consumption goes. And overall scenario of the Indian economy, I think that there are a lot of clarifications market is seeking to go to higher levels. Of course, the government has completed 1 year in power, but there's a mixed bag of reactions overall. If you talk to industry experts, people say that things haven't changed much on the ground. So a lot has to happen from the government side before we actually see the ball rolling and markets taking higher levels.
Jagannathan, come in on this. What's really going on? Is it because the last phase of correction was not over, the market's trying to go down to levels that would make it more attractive for people to enter? Is it profit booking? Is it genuine concerns that there is a very big mismatch between expectation, earnings and ground reality?
Definitely, Indian corporate earnings season has not been that exciting, and moreover, the valuations were priced to the perfection, meaning that by the market was expecting absolutely pinpoint accuracy kind of results from the Indian companies, which has not proved to be the case. So, and that eventually led to the correction, and of course, European concerns, Greece exit revenues or any British exit. So all put together, I think there is so much for the market to digest. All in all, I think earnings season has been the major trigger for the fall, and associated with the remaining many other new points.
We just talked about the SBI numbers as well, and the asset quality concerns in Canara Bank. I want to play out what the SBI chairman told exclusively to BTVI on what happens to rates from here. Very interestingly, hear her out first.
Actually, our marginal cost of fund has not come down. It has gone up. It has gone up mainly because of the fact that our composition of deposits is more skewed towards term deposits than towards CASA deposits. We have shown that the retail term deposits have grown at 22%, whereas CASA has grown at 9%. So if you look at that, the mix is such that if we go by this particular concept, then probably we need to hike rates instead of lowering rates.
Jagannathan, the SBI chairperson, the largest bank in the country, telling us that if things continue the way they are, they're more likely to hike rates than cut rates. Asset quality across the board is a concern. How do you think this changes the game for financials?
True, I think asset quality, I think everybody thought that it will improve quite dramatically over the last 1 year, but that didn't prove to be the case. On top of that, thanks to the RBI circular of March 30th, 2015, wherein they said that there is no more regulatory forbearance of lack of restructuring assets, meaning thereby, so there is no concept of restructuring assets going forward. So the banks have to either categorize them in the standard assets or strike to the NPAs, meaning thereby the additional provisions that they have to create is additional pressure. So the June quarter results can give some insights into the overall how that RBI circular of March 30th is playing out. Overall, I think it will be definitely a concerning development. So asset quality is dragging for so long is another pain point which can't be overlooked.
Right. Vijay, before I come to you on what you are recommending on the financial and banking stocks at this point, my colleague Shraddha is standing by with the detail of the analysis of the Canara Bank earnings that also came out this afternoon. Shraddha, there's a bit of concern of the asset quality even for Canara Bank.
It has been another disappointing quarter for Canara Bank with the asset quality deteriorating further. Net interest income for the quarter was down 2%. However, net profit has come in flat at about 613 crores. And this is despite a lower tax rate and also despite the 24% strong growth in the other income for the bank. Even in terms of the pre-provisioning profit, that is down about 8% on a year-on-year basis on account of an increase in other operating expenses for the bank. Provisions have come in at 1,000 crores versus 840 crores. Again, a pickup on a sequential basis. Even in terms of their asset quality, the gross and the net NPAs both have seen a significant uptick during the quarter. Restructuring for the fourth quarter has also increased, especially on account of some infrastructure accounts, and that is probably a reason that we are seeing that the Street has punished the stock. And even in terms of the FY15 advances growth, it has come in at a mere 9%, 9.6%, and deposits growth was seen at 12.6% for the bank.
Vijay, what's the recommendation on financials? They haven't corrected as much as one would have thought as on the index. If you look at the Bank Nifty over the last 1 month, what would the recommendation be? Would you still stick your neck out for some of the private sector banks, or do you think the pain is going to encompass the entire sector for a little while longer?
Well, I would like to take you back to the SBI results. Now the provisioning has gone up considerably. If you look at the numbers, the restructured loans stand at about 11,885 crores. The bank has actually increased the restructuring pipeline with about 2,625 crores. So if the restructuring is happening, actually, we are just pushing the problem ahead. The problem is, will this money come back? So I have my own doubts with the kind of money SBI has lent to the infrastructure space, the companies in the power space, and the textile companies, and so on and so forth. So this money has to come back at some point of time. So the problem which has been pushed further, which is still written on the asset side of the book, I have my own doubts that whether this could be very swiftly converted into liability or maybe a bad loan. So the issues remain related to the asset quality, of course, as we mentioned. And if you look at the Canara Bank results today, also the problem is looming large on all the public sector banks. So my take would be that better to stay with the likes of Yes Bank or IndusInd Bank or maybe ICICI Bank for that matter, where the asset quality is still in control. And I think that the growth path the growth trajectory is quite predictable. While I still feel that SBI can correct a bit further, but valuations wise, I think that one can take a dig at SBI when it's around 260 to 70 odd levels with the long term perspective.
Alright, a lot of mid-cap earnings as well today. First out, City Union Bank, a number that impressed the market, and another counter that did not impress the market, rolled out. Here what the managements had to tell us today on the quarter gone by and the road ahead.
If you look into financial year 15, that incremental slippages has moderated to about 425%, or in other words, about 2.35%. Actually, for us, you might have probably seen, we don't have many exposure to infrastructure. We are not part of many consortium for not less than 90-95% of our loan book.
If you see from the revenue angle, we had given a guidance of about 15%, we have grown 18% plus. And the EBITDA side, we had given a guidance of about 15 plus percent again, then we have grown 23.6% even in EBITDA in 15 financial year 15. So of course the PAT we cannot compare because there was an exceptional item last time, so we are not comparing that. Coming to FY16, our feeling is that we'll be able to beat the NASSCOM guidance, which is about 12 to 14%. So we should be able to do better than that, somewhere around 15% plus on top line and bottom line.
Well, a lot of mid-cap earnings in focus today. Hiral standing by with the entire arena of the numbers that move the market.
A lot of mid-cap counters have reported earnings. To start off with e-clerks. Now, in terms of the fourth quarter, the earnings have been subdued and operationally weak as well. If you see the net profit, that is down to the tune of around 18%, and even sales has dipped to the tune of around 16%. In margins, if you see, has come in at 28.9% versus 43%. Moving on to the next one, we have Atlanta. Profits have been lower for this company. However, operationally, it has been a strong quarter. The net profit is down to the tune of around 83% at 4.56 crores. Income from operations has inched higher to the tune of around 61%. And if you see margins, even that has seen an improvement, and that has come in at 9.17% versus 8.7%. The other one which we have is Jyoti Labs. It has been a strong quarter in terms of where Jyoti Laboratories is concerned. The revenues is up to the tune of around 11.5%. Profits have gone up to the tune of around 26% at around close to 27 crores. If you see in terms of the margins, even that has seen an improvement and come in at 10.3% versus an 8.3%. And the major things in terms of, if you see the breakdown in terms of segments, advertisement sales revenues have gone up to the tune of around 9%. Home care has gone up to the tune of around 12%. Soaps and detergent revenues have gone up to the tune of around 11%. And lastly, it's laundry services where the revenues have inched higher by around 8%. Moving on to the next one, we have Nitin Fire. It has been weak numbers that have been reported by Nitin Fire. The total income has come down by approximately 35%. Profits have come down to the tune of around 96% at 60 lakhs versus a profit of 16.5 crores. If you see in terms of the margins, even they have deteriorated and they have come in at 6.7% versus an 8%. And lastly, we have Chennai Petroleum, which has reported earnings. If you see in terms of the profits, they have been higher, and this is mainly on the back of lower expenses. If you see the revenues, they are down by around 34%. If you see the profits, that has gone up to the tune of around 630% at 365 crores. And if you see in margins, however, that has improved and come in at 5.5% versus 1.7%. And lastly, if you see in terms of Chennai Petroleum, the board has even approved allotment of up to around 100 crore preferential shares to IOC. So all in all, these are the major companies that, in terms of the mid-cap space, that reported earnings. Back to you.
That, Hiral. Jagannathan, many mid-cap on your radar because, even the large caps look a bit jittery at this point. Would you be risky enough to look at some of the mid-cap names?
In general, in mid-caps, we are bullish on some names on the mid-cap pharma because I feel that in the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of hard work and capital that was invested by these companies in R&D slowly yielding into results of products and commercialization opportunities. Be it Natco Pharma, we are bullish. Suven Life Sciences, we have been maintaining a positive stand. And Marksons Pharma. So in some of the mid-cap pharma, we are bullish. And some of the mid-cap home building products like the Somani Ceramics, Kazaria Ceramics, we have been bullish on that segment.
Alright, gentlemen, stay with me. We'll take a short break. On the other side, we'll put the focus on tomorrow's trade. Lots of earnings to grapple with. Tech Mahindra, Tata Motors, just to name a few, some from the heavyweight banking sector as well, after a short break. top losers on the Nifty today will report earnings tomorrow. Shraddha standing by with the details of what the expectations are from this technology company.
Dollar revenues are seen higher by 5.4% at $974 million. The INR revenues are seen up 7.3% at 6,170 crores. It is the integration of LCC and SoftGen which is expected to drive this top line growth. So growth mainly from the inorganic acquisitions. Profits are seen lower by 7% at 723 crores. There is also likely to be a significant compression in the EBITDA margins, which is likely to be seen at 17.8%. The EBITDA margin dip is of about 240 basis points on a sequential basis is going to be on account of cross-currency impacts, the wage hikes, and also on account of the integration of the newly acquired businesses. In terms of what is going to be important to watch is going to be the management commentary on large deal wins in terms of the telecom vertical and the client budgets for the next year, and also in terms of the near-term profitability and growth outlook for the company.
All right, Shraddha. In fact, let's head across right now to Mathura, where the Prime Minister is addressing a rally.
श्रीमान ओम जी माथुर, केंद्र में मंत्री परिषद के मेरे साथी श्रीमान रामशंकर जी, डॉक्टर महेश शर्मा जी और इस क्षेत्र की लोकप्रिय सांसद हेमा मालिनी जी और विशाल संख्या में आए हुए प्यारे भाइयों और बहनों, ये ब्रज की भूमि है और यहाँ पर कण कण में श्री कृष्ण विराजमान है। आज श्री कृष्ण का संदेश एक ही था, कर्म योग का। कर्म करते रहो, निरंतर कर्म करते रहो, अविरत कर्म करते रहो। और जिस धरती पर ये कार्यक्रम की रचना हुई है, वो कार्यक्रम गांव है दीनदयाल धाम। पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी का इस छोटे से गांव में जन्म हुआ था और श्री कृष्ण का संदेश था, कर्म करते रहो। पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी का संदेश था, चरैवेति चरैवेति चरैवेति। न थको, न रुको, न झुको, चलते ही रहो, चलते ही रहो। ये पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी हर बार हम कार्यकर्ताओं को कहते रहते। भाइयों बहनों, आपने एक साल पूर्व चुनाव का निर्णय किया और आपने 30 साल के बाद दिल्ली में एक पूर्ण बहुमत की सरकार बनाई। उस सरकार को काम करते करते आज 1 वर्ष पूर्ण हो रहा है और जब 1 वर्ष पूर्ण हो रहा है तब या तो दिल्ली में एक बहुत बड़ा जलसा कर देते या हिंदुस्तान के किसी राज्य की राजधानी में बड़ा जलसा कर देते। शहर ऐसा पसंद करते कि जिस शहर की आबादी लाखों की हो, लेकिन मैंने ऐसा नहीं किया। जब पार्टी ने कार्यक्रम की रचना तय की तो मैंने कहा मेरा एक सुझाव है। उन्होंने कहा क्या सुझाव है? मैंने कहा मेरा मन करता है जिस दिन संसद के अंदर मुझे नेता के रूप में चुना गया था और सांसदों के बीच में पार्टी के वरिष्ठ नेताओं के संबंध में उनके सम्मुख में मैंने कहा था, ये सरकार गरीबों को समर्पित सरकार है, ये सरकार गरीबों के लिए है, ये सरकार गरीबों के कल्याण के लिए है। आज 365 दिन के बाद मेरा मन करता था कि मैं हमारे भीतर जिस महापुरुष ने विचार बीज बोया था, गरीब के कल्याण के लिए जिंदगी खपाने की प्रेरणा दी थी, अंत्योदय का मार्ग दिखाया था, आखिरी छोर पर बैठे हुए इंसान के जिंदगी की चिंता करने का जिस महापुरुष ने हमें मंत्र दिया था, मैंने पार्टी से प्रार्थना की कि अच्छा होगा कि पंडित दीनदयाल उपाध्याय जी का जहां जन्म हुआ था, मैं उस झोपड़ी के पास जाऊं, भले छोटा सा गांव हो, मैं वहां जाकर के नमन करूं और मैं 125 करोड़ देशवासियों को अपने 365 दिन के काम का हिसाब दूं और इसलिए आज मैं दीनदयाल धाम में आया हूं। भाइयों बहनों, अगर पिछली शताब्दी